mass or these multiple shootings, you have the victims located in a, quote, gun-free zone, one that was legislated that way rather than something that just happened to be where people may not have had guns. Most of these multiple shootings have been in schools. Those are outside the state of Utah, and a few exceptions in other areas, very few. Those are legally gun-free zones, which don't seem to have much of an impact on criminals because they almost, in fact, with one or two exceptions, all of these shootings have been in gun-free zones and legally, quote-unquote, gun-free zones. It kind of makes you think that the criminals are looking for gun-free zones when they go to do these terrible things. In fact, there was one guy that they knew that's exactly how he had been thinking. He was an anti-Semite in California. He wanted to kill some Jews. He went to his first evident target was a Jewish community center, and when he saw an armed guard, he said, man, go somewhere else. And that's when he ended up finding a daycare center where he killed a bunch of kids. But he didn't see anybody with a gun there, and in fact, that's what happened. So it ought to eventually, you would hope, get through to us. But I'm not sure. We've got such a saturation in our society that it's bad for the average person to have a gun, that we've got a real uphill fight anymore. We've got schools teaching zero tolerance, that a kid that even goes bang and uses his thumb and index finger to mimic a gun, I can't stand that. And I was talking to a fellow that went to a facilities management seminar this week, and they had a session on what do you do about firearms on your company's property. And they set up a situation where they went and talked about the church shooting that had occurred in Illinois, which, by the way, was a gun-free zone, and where the pastor was killed. The guy had walked down the center aisle of the church and walked up onto the podium and had drilled the pastor. So what would happen in your church if something like that happened? And this one fellow raised his hand and said, well, in my church, he'd never get off the first shot. But then his church is not a gun-free zone.
Well, Mr. Pratt, we've got about 3 minutes left, and on your website, gunowners.org, you list which politicians support and oppose such things as Eric Holder for Attorney General, which is an out-and-out right gun grabber. Here in our area, we are seeing guns flying off the shelves, shortages of ammunition, which does our heart good. People are scared of the Obama administration. I'd like to give you the last couple minutes just to tell us about your organization, what we can do to join, and anything else that you would like to add. And again, it was a pleasure to have you on today.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. The best way to be part of the resistance to what's going on here in Washington is to go to gunowners.org, which is the web address for Gun Owners of America. And when you go there, you'll see some alerts that we've posted. They're very visible right there on that main page. And you can read through those, see what we've been doing. And we've been dealing in those alerts with the very kinds of things that we've been talking about this morning. And if you go to gunowners.org, you can sign up for a free subscription to get those alerts so that you can be part of the battle to keep Congress notified that we, the people, who actually by Constitution are their boss, are watching, and that we're going to hold them accountable. And believe me, it works. We have been seeing surprising reluctance on the part of the Congress because they're aware that if they get caught doing gun control, they may not be back to do it again.
Well, we think you're doing a great job with your website. We think you're affecting some change. Do you see the ammunition flying off the shelves nationwide? Is that
all over the country? Absolutely, without exception. I've been told about gun shows where they used to put ammunition up on tables like every other product that's exhibited, these shows. Now some of the ammunition sellers are just forget the table. They bring in skids, set them up in their areas, and as soon as the show opens, people just line up in front of those skids, and you see people carrying out 2 and 3 cases of ammo at a time. No doubt they carry out more, but they are a little heavy for most of us.
Well, that's definitely a good sign, and we're happy to hear it. And here we've seen where you couldn't even buy a box of 22s at Walmart; they were sold out. So it's people are waking up to what's actually happening with this Obama administration.
Yes, I absolutely agree with that, and it seems to be a countrywide awakening, and that's hopeful because that means that, hello, Mr. President, remember your predecessor, George III. Remember what happened when he started pushing and shutting down the militia and banning guns and their importation. That didn't work out the way he had planned. May you learn from his experience.
Thank you very much, sir. We were joined with Larry Pratt, Executive Director of Gun Owners of America, gunowners.org, and we will have you back on from time to time, let you update what's going on, and again, we'd like to thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go to the top of the hour break, and we will be back with more news in the second hour. Then we will go to your phone calls around 10:30. So this is Farron and Brian on therealnewsradio.com. Our email's on air at therealnewsradio.com if you'd like to get in touch with us. And we will be back after the break.